Good evening. Thank you for coming. Please stand for the flag salute. Remain standing for prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bless us, Lord, as we gather today for the Freeholder meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so we may work together for the good of our community. Help us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Amen. Amen. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also pursuant to the 2019 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for receipt of public comments. Public comments shall be received and with respect to the agenda items prior to the board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comments shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public period. I direct the Deputy Clerk to enter into the minutes of this public meeting announcement and advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Hobson. Here. Freeholder O'Connell.
Here.
Freeholder Singh.
Here.
Freeholder Tiver.
Here.
Director Pullian.
Here. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 23rd. I'll be looking for approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 23rd, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Questions, additions, all in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Approval of the minutes of the conference meeting of January 23rd, 2019. I'll be looking for approval of the minutes of the conference meeting January 23rd, 2019. A motion by?
So moved.
Second. Any questions or additions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. I have a proclamation to give out this evening, Give Kids a Smile Day. Recently, Rowan College of Burlington County hosted their Give Kids a Smile Day. The event that provides free dental care to children ages 12 and younger who might not otherwise have access to oral health care. I would like to thank the college and its staff for the impressive job they do giving back to the community. At this time, I would like to welcome RCBC President Mike Ciosi and company to the front for proclamation presentation.
How are you? Good. Thanks for coming. Two of our dental hygiene students with us and the director of the program.
Come on up.
I know you.
I know you. Yeah. It was very nice to go out. I've never been to the dental lab before, and I can tell you, I was so impressed with the number of people that showed up, how many people get processed through that system during the day. These people take the time and energy to give to these kids that normally wouldn't have the ability to have that kind of dental care. And I think you told me you've been doing this for what,
17 years.
17 years, so it's phenomenal. I want to read this real quick. Whereas the Board of Chosen Freeholders wishes to recognize Rowan College of Burlington County for their 15th annual Give Kids a Smile Day and continued support of the Burlington County community at large. And whereas Give Kids a Smile is a one-day program that provides free dental care to children ages 12 and younger who might not otherwise have access to oral health care. It is a part of the American Dental Association's national effort to bring attention to the #1 childhood disease, tooth decay. Whereas Rowan College at Burlington County's Give Kids a Smile Day addresses a serious health concern in a kid-friendly way while creating a path to a life of better oral health. And whereas this year 72 children were able to receive 529 procedures for almost $35,000 worth of dental treatment at Rowan College at Burlington County. Whereas the Give Kids a Smile Day program is a rewarding experience, the Rowan College at Burlington County's dental hygiene program, alumni, volunteer dentists, faculty, and students make an impact in the health of children in our community through the Give Kids a Smile program. And whereas the New Jersey Give Kids a Smile program is managed by the New Jersey Dental Association, the New Jersey Dental Assistants Association, and the New Jersey Dental Hygienists Association, and is supported by Colgate, Henry Sheehan Dental, Delta Dental, and New Jersey, and private donations. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington does recognize Rowan College of Burlington County for their active participation in the New Jersey Give Kids a Smile Day program, strength as a community leader, and promoting better oral health. Thank you.
Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, and one more. Thank you. Want to say anything? No, I think it's Linda's event. I mean, it's her 15th year, so I'll defer to her.
I just wanted to thank the college for the support over the years in all that we've been able to provide for the community. And it's a very rewarding day, and I'm very grateful to have been a part of it for so long. Thank you.
Before we move on to public comment, I would like to make something known. As some of you may have noticed, we have 2 resolutions on the agenda regarding the demolition of the Centerton River Road Bridge. This is a necessary first step in any future projects for the bridge, whether that being a walking bridge or a vehicle bridge. Well, I've not made any final decision in regards to the bridge. It cannot be left as is. You have heard our engineer refer to it as an attractive nuisance, and the Freeholder Board agrees that demolition is needed to prevent any safety hazards. With that said, I would like to move on to public comment. Public comments on the agenda items only.
You have it.
Oh, I got it, okay. Okay, first on the list is Carol Melton.
Instead of the usual agenda items, can you move the circuit trails people first? Is that possible to change the agenda?
Sure.
Because that would then free up a lot of seats in place, let more people sit
Pass the
down.
resolution first.
We have to pass the
Can
resolution.
you do that resolution independently and then do them first? Is that possible?
We're going to stick to the agenda.
That's a shame. All right, well, I have a question about Resolution H31. I wanted to know if it was $209.09 per day per bed, or if that's for the 3 beds.
You know what that one is?
Per day.
That's the juvenile,
No, yeah.
that's per day for
I think
3.
it's per bed per day.
So
But can you clarify that, Sarah?
Yeah, I can. I want to find the resolution.
shelter homes for juveniles in crisis, it's on the last page of the agenda. The number's separate from the item. You see it? Here.
Let's look at the actual resolution.
This one here.
It's per bed.
Per bed.
Right?
Yeah, per bed.
Do you know how
That's
many?
right.
Okay. Do you know how many are served in that program?
I don't.
Okay. You know what? Get back to me later.
Thank you.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Thanks. Next is Kim Glassman.
I think I'm putting a non-agenda item for school.
Okay, so you have nothing on the agenda, right?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
this is for, just for everybody, this is for anything that's on the agenda first. Okay, well, public comment second. How about Linda Hobart?
Also for the pool.
Also for the pool. Haley?
Also for the pool.
Okay. Emily? Pool. Joe Handershot?
I can wait till after.
It's after?
Yeah.
Okay. How about John Boyle?
I can speak.
Okay,
I have an agenda item.
there you go.
Hello, my name is John Boyle. I am a resident of Edgewater Park, and I am the research director for the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia, and I am here speaking on behalf of the Circuit Coalition. I want to thank the Freeholders for considering and hopefully adopting a resolution to build 500 miles of trails in the Greater Philadelphia region by 2025. For the county, that means to do 18 to 20 miles over the next 7 years. And we know that the Department of Resource Conservation has just about all those miles in their plans. So I just want to thank you for the resolution. I also want to say that this is the 100th resolution for a local government for the circuit trails. So, this Burlington County will fill out our whole 9-county Delaware Valley region to build this circuit. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's Marie White Bailey?
Is that me? Marie White?
Marie White?
Yes, it's me.
Okay.
I didn't know I was up here too.
I'm sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here for one reason. I'm a member of the Burlington County Partnership for Youth Success. I've been on that committee for 3 years. And recently, we were advised that Rick had, I assume that some of you know who Rick is, Carpenter, is no longer a member of that board, and he was terminated. My problem is that we didn't know that he was going to be terminated. And I've got to tell you that Rick was an essential partner to this committee. He was able to bring the juveniles to employment, and he was able to connect with all of the youth services in the county. I do not know why he was severed, but we're all upset by that. So I'm a representative from that Burlington County Partnership for Youth Success, and I hope that you will reconsider whatever the causes are for his termination. My name is Marie White Bell.
Thank you very much. Charles Caramana?
Good evening. My name is Charles Caramana. I live in Chemont. I am the Burlington County Chair of the Bicycle Coalition. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to thank the Freeholders for their consideration of the Circuit Trail resolution on behalf of, bicyclists throughout Burlington County. And, we're hoping and keeping our fingers crossed for a positive resolution. Thanks again, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Tomu Sal? You can wait after? Okay. William Kremen?
Kramer, K-R-A-M-E-R.
Sorry.
That's okay. So my name is William Kramer. I'm here on behalf of the Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association. I'm also representing the presidents of 6 county emergency services organizations from police, fire, and EMS, and 4 unions that collectively represent the vast majority of the county's career fire and EMS service. First, I'd like to express my personal displeasure with the procedure of not allowing or releasing or providing copies of resolutions to the public, or at least to their affected communities, prior to taking a vote on them. This works against transparent government and eliminates the ability for you, as our elected officials, from hearing from your constituents prior to deciding whether to support an issue or not. Second, it is apparent from this evening's agenda that there will be a resolution before you to make some sort of changes to the Emergency Services Advisory Board, although those of us who I represent have no clue what those changes will be. While it's certainly within your right to do so, you are violating the bylaws of the Emergency Services Advisory Board, which has existed for over 25 years and whose bylaws this board approved just last year. You failed to ask or seek input from any of the county emergency services agencies prior to introducing the resolution asking for changes to the Emergency Services Advisory Board. Remember, the Emergency Services Advisory Board is an advisory board to you, and you all failed to engage them in conversation about whatever changes you are about to make. Mr. Tiger, are you aware that Chief Pratt from your hometown is an active member of the Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association? And Mr. Pullen, are you aware that the president of the Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association lives in your community? And Mr. Singh, are you aware that Chief Leshner from Burlington Township Fire Department is a very active member of the Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association? And Ms. Hobson, are you aware that Chief Burnett is the Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association representative to the Emergency Services Advisory Board? And Mr. O'Connell, Chief Martino and Deputy Chief Cunningham, both from your community, are extremely active with our association, and in fact, all of them are here tonight with the exception of Chief Marino.
That's Chief Martino.
Martino, sorry. On a personal note, I'm extremely disappointed that I attempted numerous times to communicate with 3 of you via email and phone calls over the last 2 weeks, and none of you, Mr. Pullen, Mr. Singh, or Mr. O'Connell, had the courtesy to return my call or my emails. Lastly, I have been authorized by the leadership of the police, fire, and EMS agencies from Burlington County to read into the record a letter that all of you should have received earlier this week. It's addressed to the Burlington County Board of Chosen Freeholders dated February 11th, 2019. Dear members of the Freeholder Board, since the inception of the Emergency Services Advisory Board in 1993, we have enjoyed an open relationship with the Burlington County Board of Chosen Freeholders. The purpose of this relationship is to be able to communicate our needs to the freeholders with one voice, which ensures that suggestions and positions are representative of the majority of the county's emergency services agencies. Unfortunately, when the control of the Freeholder Board changed, so did this relationship. We believe that Freeholder Singh, who has been assigned as the public safety liaison, is attempting to revise the way that representatives are chosen from their respective agencies who sit on the Emergency Services Advisory Board for political reasons. This is contrary to the long-standing relationship that we have built over decades. As a result, a meeting was convened on February 7th, 2019 with the following groups in attendance: Burlington County Fire Chiefs Association, Burlington County Firefighters Association, Burlington County Fire Police Association, Burlington County Fire Marshals Association, Burlington County Emergency Medical Services Chiefs Association, Burlington County Professional Firefighters Association Local 3091, Local 4408, Local 4687, and the ECHAM Fire Officers Mutual Benevolent Association Local 115, as well as the Burlington County Police Chiefs Association. Also in attendance were the majority of the members of the 2018 Emergency Services Advisory Board and other invited guests. Those in attendance unanimously voted to request that the Board of Freeholders respect the process of appointing individuals to the ESAB who were chosen by their representative agencies. We also suggest that the ESAB be requested to immediately work on revising the bylaws to increase its membership to include 2 representatives from the Burlington County Chiefs of Police Association. In addition, we are open to working with the freeholders on any changes or additions. We value these long-standing relationships which foster a synergetic approach towards raising the bar for public safety for the residents of Burlington County. Several attempts have been made to contact Deputy Director Singh regarding the appointment of Emergency Service Advisory Board members with little or no response. We are concerned that at this point, the Freeholder Board does not value the input of the qualified members that have been put forward to hold positions on the Emergency Service Advisory Board for 2019. To that end, absent a productive conversation regarding the appointment of the members that have been submitted already for your consideration, We may be forced to seek alternate outlets of communication to ensure the public safety concerns of the Emergency Service Advisory Board are taken into consideration. All representatives of this group listed above agree that the current direction that the Freeholder Board has taken is unacceptable, unnecessary, and is counterproductive towards establishing positive relationships moving forward. The groups listed above stand ready and willing to work towards settling this matter quickly. Sincerely, the leadership of the Burlington County Emergency Services. I will like to have this submitted for the record.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. John Brown. John here? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this one. Kevin Sparkman? I didn't butcher it as he told me. I was going to butcher it.
I know, my handwriting is terrible.
No.
But hopefully you know my name.
It's my eyes.
I just want to offer that thank you for the support with the resolution this evening for the circuit trails. I think one of the things I'd like to say about this is that we also have to look at this not just as a recreational opportunity, but it really is an economic development opportunity. These types of assets and additions to the community really do promote economic development. Companies looking to relocate are always looking for counties and towns that are improving, trails and recreational opportunities. So it is both a recreational and an economic development opportunity. I'd also like to say that I hope this also sort of segues ultimately into a complete streets policy in the county. The two work together well, and hopefully that this board will pursue that activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Rothmel.
Hi, Mike Rothfeld from Mount Holly, New Jersey. I wasn't planning to speak, but then I was looking and I saw that for the completion of the Smithville Bridge, the $628,273.80 was appropriated. And I guess from understanding, just talking to people familiar with the project, that part of the problem was the contractor did not come up to standards when they were doing the bridge, and that's part of the problem. And the question that I had is the contractor paying any penalty for the problems that they caused that require this additional $628,000?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead.
We're looking into it, and we can't discuss anything that might turn into any kind of issues regarding the contract litigation.
Okay.
But thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Randy Rothmel.
I'll wait for a second.
Second? Okay. Anybody else on agenda items that didn't get a chance to sign in? Okay, seeing it no more, we'll move on to our resolutions. I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolutions H1 through H21 by unanimous consent. Before we do that, I need to remove myself from voting on the resolution for the TLC. That's the resolutions of approvals and rejections, okay? Aside from that, I'll be looking for approval of resolutions H1 through H21 by unanimous consent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any questions? Hearing none? All in favor?
I have a question. There's several of these resolutions that I have to abstain from, so that may be unanimous consent.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you, he can just say the ones he wants to approve, correct?
Or the ones you want to abstain from.
Okay. Whichever one you'd like.
Which ones, the latter, which ones you're abstaining from would probably be more appropriate.
Sorry. H1, H1, H3, H4, H11, H12, H13, 14, 15, 16, and 18.
get the motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on to Director Singh. I'm sorry. Do we have to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Will anybody opposed, abstains? Okay. Director Singh?
So, Director, thank you. I'd like to propose resolutions H22 to H27 by unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
Director, I have a question on H26. For the record, I haven't received that letter that was just read into record. I don't know who it went to, or, right, but he said it was sent to us. So I don't know who it went to, but I haven't received it. I think it's a good idea to add the police into the advisory board, but there's bylaws that are governing this board, I believe, Mr. Kramer said. Did we amend the bylaws to make these changes? You know, there's a lot of moving parts here. These men and women, they're the ones that live this day in and day out, and they knew better than us what they need, and I think we've done a pretty good job with the advisory committee. So I would recommend either tabling this or so we can do a better job as a board communicating with everybody, or I'm going to abstain from H26.
Okay.
Freeholder Director, I also have to abstain on several of these resolutions. You want me to give the numbers again?
Sure.
Yes.
H22, H23, H24, H25. For those of you who are wondering why I'm abstaining, I'm the newest freeholder and I was not here for the discussion on these issues, so I don't want to try and cast a vote on those. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a vote, please? Motion to accept?
I made the motion.
A second. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm going to abstain from H26.
Okay. Freeholder Hobson?
I'd like to make a motion to move H28 through H32 with unanimous consent.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstain. H31.
Okay.
This will be the last time.
Okay. Have a vote, please. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right now, Circuit Trails, tonight we passed Resolution H27, milestone for the Circuit Trails here in Burlington County. This resolution not only sees to the completion of 180 miles of Circuit Trails by 2025, it also marks the 100th resolution of support that the Circuit Trails Coalition has received. This time I would like to welcome the coalition to come up front and to have Deputy Director Singh present them with an honorary resolution.
Yes. It's definitely an honor. Thank you so much. Okay, any more progress?
We need everyone.
A few more? All right.
Sure.
Yeah, and any of your,
Yeah. Oh, this is really good.
yeah, we're excited. Sure.
Sure can.
One more, very good.
Thank you.
All right. No, I think I'm obligated to put a shirt on.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Wait, all right.
So, foremost, I think thank you for giving us the honor of being the host for your 100th resolution. I know you could have probably gone to a bunch of municipalities of the 500 we have in the state, but thank you so much. And so your vision is 500 miles by 2025?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. And I think with 8 to 20 miles, I know our Director, Marika Ravi, has explained that we already are committed to contribute some of the miles in Arlington County towards your goal. And I think I think we're very excited about it. This is an initiative that has been going on for decades. We have just come on board in the Freeholder board right now, but we are committed to trails. And as a big hiker and camper myself, I'm really excited, and I got 3 little ones. And I can't wait for the weather to clear up, so I can run them all on all these trails from Bordentown all the way to Palmyra, and really make put some miles under their shoes. And that will really get the energy out of them too. But thank you so much. I mean, from with a hiking, walking with the dog, walking with the kids, either you're biking or skateboarding, anything with these circuit trails. We're just excited that we are part of this whole initiative. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. So I have a proclamation that I would like to present to you. Then I would like to ask a few of your partners to say a few words. Okay? So who wants to say it? All right.
Yeah.
All right, here, we got a little something.
All right. Thank you.
You all ready? And one more. All right.
Thank you so much. For any of your partners, please. I know this is not just one organization. It's a coalition of a bunch of different organizations coming together. So please enlighten us about what you do.
Okay. The Bicycle Coalition covers the 9-county area in the greater Philadelphia area, of which Burlington County is one. And what we try to do is connect these counties through, bicycling activities, and of course support bicycling activities by, having a trail system. And this trail system that we're talking about, that this is a component of, actually stretches from, or will eventually connect Maine to Florida.
Wow.
The entire East Coast. And
The Urban Appalachian Trail.
Huh?
No, this is a different one.
The Greenway,
East Coast Greenway.
East Coast Greenway. Yes.
Very good.
Okay, so we are just a node, a small part in the major scheme of things, but like Kevin Sparkman pointed out, okay, there is a certain quality of life that comes along, with having, these recreational facilities, the bicycle facilities, that people are attracted to, and we're seeing it more and more, and we advocate it the best we can for health and for quality of life. So thank you very much, the entire board.
Yes.
And we'll continue to nurture our partnership, and we're coming back around with complete streets resolution.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
But you guys.
Hurry up.
At this time, I'll be making nominations for the Women's Advisory Council. I would like to nominate Christine Walton-Bone, Lovepreet Uttar, Kelly Brennan Clark, Sruti Desai, Anna M. Evans, Mariel Gilletto Esquire, Shanti Hawley, Michelle Jackson, Andrea Katz, Hannah Katz, Amanda Kuhn, Diane Miles McKay, Christina Renna, Jahara Sabir, Nikki Moore Sampson, June DePonte Cernak, Charla Simpson, Chemo Thomas Dennis, Joanne Weiner, and Bridget Weiss. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Freeholder Hobson.
No? Okay.
I don't
Sorry.
think that's,
Sorry.
I don't think so.
Apologize. Okay. Moving on to the next nomination, Office on Aging Advisory Council. I would like to nominate Althea Pinnick, Samuel Bodice, T. Lucille Bowden, Paula Redmond Costco, Lisa Killian Smith, Karen Bennett, Naomi Walker, Jerry Kilkenny, Amy Barra, Freeholder Felicia Hobson, Robert Jung, Carl Schoenborn, Al Cohen, Reva Foster, and Sharon Roth. So I was right. We had to vote.
You were right, that's
Okay. We're going to go back to the Women's Council. I'm not going to read them again. Right? I don't have to.
You guys have names.
Okay.
Names is read. Felicia Hobson.
Names is read.
Freeholder O'Connell.
Names is read.
Freeholder Singh.
Names as read.
Freeholder Tiber.
Names is read.
Director Polian.
Names is read. Do we have to take a vote on the Aging Advisory
right.
Council?
Freeholder Hobson.
Names is read.
Freeholder O'Connell.
Names is read.
Freeholder Singh.
Names as read.
Freeholder Tiber.
Names is read.
Director Polian.
Names is read. Okay, at this time, I'll be making appointments by director for public safety. Balbir Singh. Resource conservation, Balbir Singh. Elections, Balbir Singh. Health, Daniel J. O'Connell. And the prosecutor's office, Daniel J. O'Connell. At this point, I'll be making appointments by director for one board member, alternate to the Burlington County Planning Board, Freeholder Daniel J. O'Connell, and one representative to the Soil Conservation Services, Daniel J. O'Connell. Nomination and election for the Agricultural Development Board. At this time, I'll be making nominations for the Agricultural Development Board. I would like to nominate for the farm members, John M. Hublick, Springfield, Paul Shin, Springfield, Philip Prickett, Tabernacle, Peter Johnson, Springfield, Sherry Dudas, Chesterfield, Stephen Specca, Springfield, and the alternate Jeff Tober from Bordentown City. For the public members, Richard Toon, Springfield, Dan Kennedy, Bordentown, Kevin Sparkman, Medford, and John Kokobinski, North Hanover. Oh, Ed Cohen, Mount Laurel, Randy Rothmel, Mount Holly, and the alternate is Mr. Brian Lestini from Morristown. With that, we'll entertain questions from the press. Nothing? Okay. All right, now at this time I'm going to open up to the public. This is not for agenda items, so any topic you would like to come up and make public comment, come on up. When you come up to the mic, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you very much.
Pool people! All right, Carol Melman, Springfield. Let's go through the facts about the pool. Pemberton campus is owned by RCBC. You will stop me if I have a fact that's wrong. Freeholders appoint the RCBC trustees. Freeholders back the RCBC construction bonds. Freeholders gave RCBC $4.125 million for operating expenses in 2019. Freeholders paid $6 million for 48 acres in Mount Laurel for RCBC to build athletic facilities and fields, which RCBC has yet to develop, but they did pay money for the plans to be drawn up. RCBC believed it could get a private-public partnership. This hasn't happened. Now athletics may be cut completely. RCBC, using their numbers, will continue to lose $580,000 yearly on the Pemberton campus, even if it's empty. They will need to pay for insurance, security, heat, electric, outside maintenance, grass cutting, and probably other things I haven't thought of. Those costs don't go away if the buildings are empty. College campuses do not sell well, even in the best locations, such as growing communities with many private schools. Yes, I called an appraiser of commercial properties to talk to them about it. Market forces are indicating that the campus has little value to developers, as was obvious from the RFP with 0 responses. All of the buildings in both Pemberton and Mount Laurel were paid for with tax dollars. During high school swim season, the pool averages approximately 1,800 users per week. This is from mid-November through mid-February. This is only the pool. Total approximate usage, 21,600 people in 12 weeks. Clearly, it needs to be shut down. Pool operations are essentially self-funding, as fees are charged for membership classes, rentals, and meets. The Burlington County Open Space Tax permits using funds for maintenance if the county were to take it as part of the open space, the Parks Department. Total lesson and revenue currently approximately $306,000 a year. Approximately 140 memberships, roughly 60 are student members. So those are the facts. Do I have anything wrong? And there are the crickets. Thank you. Here come the questions. And here I expect you to answer me.
Ma'am?
If that's possible.
No, there will be no answers.
So I'm going to quote you then.
It's a comment.
I'm going to quote
comment session.
In October 24th, 2018, all 5 freeholders, so you 2 are accepted right now, promised that the county would work to keep the college pool open, and if that was not feasible, officials said the county would partner to build another one elsewhere. Where are you? Oh, that's right, nowhere. Mr. Singh, Freeholder Singh, quote, proposed a resolution to urge the college to keep the pool in Pemberton Township. The freeholders refused to do that. But he did say, if we as a freeholder board are so committed, let's not just make a statement for a record, let's pass a resolution and send it over to the college board of trustees that we want to make sure that this is not privatized. Every effort should be made to either maintain that pool or put a pool close by. Another quote, no interruption in aquatics or competitive swim programs. Pool is scheduled to shut down at the end of July. Good luck fulfilling that promise. And Singh said he would support a county takeover. So those are some of the facts. I'm here today to basically ask you to keep your promise. I will allow others to talk. I have many questions the board's clearly not interested in answering.
Anybody else on the pool?
Good evening. My name is Gilbert Yeager. I own Aquatech Scuba Center, which has been a small business in Maple Shade for the last 20 years. We've depended upon that pool since 1998, and we have certified literally hundreds of South Jersey residents, both from surrounding counties and from Burlington County, in that pool. The pool is very important to divers in the South Jersey area because it's a deep pool. Lap pools are really of no use to scuba divers, and there is a huge South Jersey wreck diving community here, which a lot of people are really unaware of unless you get involved in scuba diving. We train firefighters, police officers, military personnel. I've trained recreational divers, and I've literally trained hundreds of divers in this pool. To lose this pool would also put my business in jeopardy. So I'm asking the freeholders to do the right thing and do whatever they can
to support keeping this pool open. It's very important to our economy here in Burlington County, and it's very important to the businesses and the residents of Burlington County. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Teen Geyer Taylor. Please don't close our pool. I was hoping I could do my therapy there, and there's 8 other people at the senior center that were hoping the same thing when they can go. And, you know, even people that can't swim can walk in the water and get exercise. And the seniors really need that. And they couldn't come because we can't see at night. I had to get a ride. We can't hear, but we could, you know, exercise in that pool. And besides, you know, my grandkids need to learn to swim. I want to take them there. And there's not much for our kids to do in the township anyway. Please, I beg you, don't close our pool.
My name is Linda Hobart. I live in Browns Mills, New Jersey, and I'd like to remind the freeholders that the county extends to Browns Mills, and we have no facilities in Browns Mills other than the lake, which is open only for the summer, with nice, deep, dark water where you can't see the bottom, and it's not nearly as safe as a clean pool. I know this for a fact because I worked at the pool for over 30 years. I have taught thousands of children swimming lessons, and I can't imagine how many of those children used those skills to save lives, because we teach a Red Cross program, which is not only just swimming skills, but it's water safety skills, how to cope if you fall off of a boat, how to wear a life jacket, how to swim with your clothing on if you fall in fully dressed. It is a full program, and these children need this information. At one point in time, when the schools were able to afford it, we had the entire student body of both the Pemberton Borough School and the Chatsworth Elementary School through there, because they would bus them in for lessons for 5 to 6 weeks per class. We worked with children from Midway School and from Gethin School, which is both special populations groups. I was a little leery with that, with them coming in, and I'll tell you what, I learned a lot about special needs children and adults. And I really learned to love the people that were coming in. Also, I want to bring to your point, to your attention, that this is a life-saving skill. Swimming is one of the few sports that can actually save your life. I also know of a young man who started in that program as an infant. He was 8 months old the first time he was in the water. He served this country for 10 years as a Navy SEAL based on his swimming skills that he learned at the pool. And I know this for a fact because that young man is my son. And he won 3 Bronze Stars during his service to this country, and the first one was for valor. And I think that pool is an essential part of this community, and I can see no reason other than stubbornness on the part of the freeholders to try to close it. You took everything away from us when you closed that college. You took away all of our local community services, our local college classes. The people that were coming to us from Fort Dix now have to drive on the little time that they have free all the way to Mount Laurel or take credit courses online, which is not the same as participating in a feedback with your classmates in a classroom. You can get an education that way, but it's certainly different. And I, along with everyone else that's here on behalf of the pool, I'm urging you to see what you can do to find a way to keep that pool open. It is a vital part of our community.
My name is Kim Glassman. I am the head swimming coach at Pemberton Township High School, and I'm here to read a letter on behalf of Joe McColpin, who is our athletic director, and also the president and swim chair of the Burlington County Scholastic League. I'm writing in hopes of explaining the impact that closing the RCBC pool would have on a significant number of student athletes in Burlington County. The past swim season alone, approximately 325 students from 9 Burlington County Scholastic League programs practiced and competed at the RCBC pool. This figure does not account for the likely more than 200 student athletes from Lenape, Shawnee, Seneca, and Cherokee high schools who also use the pool for practices and competitions. By closing the RCBC pool, Burlington County would be left with no competition-capable pools for the winter high school swim season. Clearly, this would have a significant impact on future student athletes with aspirations to swim, not to mention the sport of swimming as a whole in our county. Not having access to a pool within the county that could be used for competitions would be a hardship that several school districts and swim programs would not be able to overcome. Your decision could possibly dictate the future of the sport of competitive high school swimming in Burlington County. As a school administrator, I am well aware of the financial constraints and the burden of having to make difficult and even unpopular decisions for the sake of achieving a relatively healthy budget. However, a decision of this magnitude and the wide-ranging impact it would have on hundreds of current student athletes and likely thousands of future high school student athletes is one where I believe each and every alternative ought to be thoroughly and completely pursued and exhausted before deciding that closing RCBC pool is the only option. When I am faced with similar situations, I try to find real-world, real people impacts to help sway me one way or the other. In this case, I have to look no further than one Pemberton High School senior, Josiah Tewitt. Josiah is a remarkable young man who is successful in both the classroom and the athletic setting. He recently competed on one of the most successful swimming careers of any Pemberton Township student. His swimming achievements, along with his high academic standing, have earned him an offer from St. Peter's University to continue his academic and his swimming career, an offer that he has accepted. Josiah's swimming achievements, which have directly impacted his life and made the path to a successful future that much more likely for him, occurred at the RCBC pool. He did start lessons there at a very young age, and he's actually currently working there right now as a lifeguard. That's why he's not here himself this evening. And I can say unequivocally and without reservation that without the existence of the RCBC pool, the opportunity to attend St. Peter's and become a member of its Division I swim program would not have presented itself. I am certain that there are countless other stories similar to Josiah's that could be shared in this room this evening, but Josiah's story is one that I hope influences you to find a solution that does not end in the closing of the RCBC pool. Rather, I am hopeful that with this and all of the additional feedback that you receive from those in attendance tonight, that you will be motivated to find a solution that serves the county's budgetary goals while not closing the doors of opportunity that being able to participate in interscholastic swimming provides hundreds of county student athletes annually. Respectfully, Joel McColgan, Pemberton High School Athletic Director and President and Swim Chair of the Burlington County Scholastic League. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Uncle Saul, and I live in Brownsville, New Jersey. I live 5 minutes away from BCC. I can run a bike to BCC. And tonight I see a lot of strings being hung here that all tie together. And she's actually taught me since a very young age, and without her, I wouldn't have had the times that I have in swimming today. Glassman's actually my high school coach, and Josiah Tewitt, that she mentioned, is my swimming best friend that I've been swimming since I was 3 years old. In the scuba class, I lifeguard at BCC, and I've witnessed his classes. They're really cool, and he gets lots of people, and I feel like those skills are very valuable too. And I want to represent the kids and the teenagers in Browns Mills. There's not much in Browns Mills. Everything that we have either gets torn down, taken away, or goes out of business. BCC was one of our, actually the only place we could actually have some place to do, or something to do, besides what's on the street. And what's on the street is not pretty. We do have a lake, but would I go in it? No, it's dark. Things on the bottom, like tree trunks, bikes, not very good. And I also work at BCC myself, and so losing this would actually lose my job. And I've been swimming there for so long, it would lose my childhood. And I also swim there, and I would lose a big portion of me that I've created since I was like 3. Taking this pool away would essentially take away more than half of me. I've accepted to a few different colleges for swimming. I'm at a swimming college too. And because of BCC, I got to that point, and I just wanted to just say, please keep the pool, and please keep it in Pemberton as well, or at least close to me and the kids in Brownsville who need it to keep off what they're doing in the streets. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Walker. I'm part of a master's swim team that uses the pool every Friday morning. It's not just the young people, it's the older folks as well, and we flip all our turns. I think it would be a tragedy if this board were to close this pool. I know you have budgetary concerns, but I think we're talking about a quality of life, as bespeaks what many of the young people have said this evening, and I think it's very difficult to quantify that. I can tell you we're there every Friday, and we have been for 10 years, at least 35 of us. We have a tremendous commitment to the sport. When we finish at 7 a.m., there is a whole phalanx of senior citizens who go in the pool as well. If you were to close this pool, it would have a substantial effect on many recreational programs. I think, in fact, it would serve as the death knell of the swim teams for many of these high schools that use this pool. I have been swimming competitively or recreationally for 45 years. I can tell you over the years we've lost many indoor pools. This is a superb facility. It's an asset for Burlington County. It was just retrofitted, I believe, 5 years ago. So to close it would not just have a ripple effect, it would have a tidal effect throughout this whole community, because these young people and the oldsters too wouldn't have the opportunity to use this wonderful facility. So please, whatever you have to do, whatever numbers you have to crunch, please do what you can to keep this pool open. It's a wonderful asset. It's a jewel for this community. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Hayley Artis and I live in Medford, New Jersey. I have a son who swims at Shawnee Swim Team, and there are several parents in here from Shawnee Swim Team. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Without that pool, it would be very difficult for all the Lenape Regional High Schools to participate. How can we have the Burlington County Scholastic League Championships in Burlington County if there is no pool? Why should we have to go to Camden County if this pool is not kept open? Why can't we stay in Burlington County and have the meets that these children deserve? I am also an ex-employee of the pool. I was there for 5 years and I have taught all the groups that everybody mentioned. I've taught young children how to swim. I taught all the aqua exercise classes that were there. I taught Red Cross lifeguarding classes, and I know there are Rowan County employees in this room, and I have also taught their kids to swim as well. And those employees get lessons for free, okay? So the pool is extremely valuable, and it would be an absolute shame. There is no other pool in Burlington County that's as deep as that pool. And as the guy quite rightly said, for the scuba diving, it is necessary to have that. And also for learning how to dive properly, you need a proper 10-foot pool to be able to learn to dive. So my son also had, both my sons had swimming lessons there. One of my sons swims on the high school swim team. He also was on the Aquabaron swim team. He swims for an outside college, high school team as well, and he is looking to swim in college. So I beg you to keep this pool open. It is needed more than you will ever know. Thank you.
My name is Connie Emmons, and I worked at the college for 25 years. My children took swimming lessons at the college. My son was a lifeguard at Mirror Lake and saved 3 people because he took the lifeguard course at the Pemberton campus. And we are a nation of waste, and we have a gem. And it would be a sin to let it go by the wayside just because of political advantages. But I think that Pemberton Township doesn't have very much, but we do have a gem. And there's an awful lot of kids and an awful lot of seniors like me who go there and take swimming exercises, and it's good for everybody. And to close it would be silly, and to move it to Mount Laurel would be ridiculous.
Hi, I'm Judy Lucas. I'm from Medford. I also have a son on the Shawnee Swim Team. My main thing, I would like to know when you guys decide what you're going to do with the pool. I don't want us all to stand here and ask and tell you how we feel about it and then we quietly hear that it's going to be closed. I want an open dialogue. I want us all to be kept in the loop so we know if it's going to be closed, what the alternatives are. And I don't believe that you should close it until you come up with a viable alternative so the program can continue without interruption. Thank you.
Mike Rothfeld. From what I've heard tonight, it sounds like Pemberton and Browns Mills have dearth of services. I've been representing people in that area for some time, and that probably is true. And I think it goes beyond the pool. You have the Rancocas access to the creek there for canoeing. You've got something that you could put a dog park in. You could create a recreational center there with the buildings. I think it's something you should do a little bigger rather than just look at the pool, because there is a dearth of services in Pemberton and Browns Mills. And repurposing for public purposes is something that's forgotten, I think, because of all the tax cuts we've had and that whole attitude of anti-government waste. And I think, not anti-government, anti-government can do anything attitude we've had the past couple of years. Government can do stuff that's good for people. There's a need out there for that. And to convert the entire campus into some sort of recreation center for kids so they aren't on the streets, as the one young man said, I think would be something to look at that would really benefit the area. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Rosania. I'm also one of the Gray Panthers that swims on Friday mornings. I've been doing it for 10 years for our master's group. And I'm also the proud parent of one Shawnee graduate last year. My daughter spent 2 years on the Shawnee swim team, and my son's a senior this year. Well, we graduated from Shawnee and spent 4 years on the team. That's the only sport he stuck with in high school. I echo what Kevin said. I echo what everyone else said. I think it would just be an absolutely complete tragedy to shut the pool down. Shawnee doesn't have pool facilities. They have to either go to Fort Dix, BCC Special Services on Ark Road, or BCC. And again, that's the entire Lenape Regional School District. They have 3 pools that they have to use, and it's juggled between all the high schools. If you shut one pool down, you're going to wreck the high school programs. That's what it comes down to. So keep the pool open, please.
Sure.
I'm very sympathetic to the pool people, but I'm here to talk about the lack of diversity in human services. In the last 30 days or 3 months, 3 of the African American males have been discharged from services under human services. Todd Whitman, Chris Taylor, and Rick Carpenter. We need to have African males working with the youth in this county community. I went through the Burlington County Human Services catalog, and I find that there are no African Americans in charge of departments, not one. So I'm asking you to explore the possibility of having more African American, particularly males, working with youth in this county. I've been around for a lot of years in this county, and I've seen youth go into prison, and I've seen youth who didn't get the kind of attention they should have gotten when they were young men. So I'm asking, I don't know who's in charge of human services, but I would ask you to look into the persons who are in charge and perhaps consider some minority involvement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy Rothnoff from Mount Holly. I'm here to talk to you about styrofoam. While the state legislature is working on a bill that may eventually ban single-use plastic shopping bags, plastic drinking straw, and polystyrene food containers, the Freeholders have an opportunity to do something on a very small scale. About 2 months ago or so, I had the opportunity to meet my husband for lunch at the courthouse cafeteria. And while the food was good, I'll never eat there again. The reason why, you go in there on opening when you eat in the cafeteria, you go in, order your food. They put it into a polystyrene takeout container. You go sit down at your table or to your office, where that container has a lifespan of what, 15 minutes, half an hour, then gets dumped into the garbage can and goes out to your landfill. That is totally unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Polystyrene is not biodegradable, lasts 500 years. It is also probably 5% polystyrene and 95% air, so it is has a lot of volume. So it is going out to your landfills, which you can eliminate that very easily. What's wrong with a paper plate? You're taking your food to a table, eating in the cafeteria. Or there's lots of other opportunities for other types of containers that are biodegradable that can be used. So I encourage the freeholders to work with the food services at the courthouse to find an alternative to the styrofoam containers that they're currently used. That, of course, doesn't take care of just the problem of styrofoam. As most people, do a lot of shopping online. You buy from Amazon or other vendors, and your items come in, shipped to your house, and they're packaged with styrofoam, which is a good way to protect your product from breaking. Or you may have medical, like insulin or other drugs delivered to your home for a meal order that is delivered to you in styrofoam coolers, or use a service that these meal kits that are now become so popular. There is actually a way to recycle foam, believe it or not. And actually, Sussex, I believe it's Sussex County MUA at their solid waste recycling center has one of these units. It's developed by From Cycle. It's the size of a shipping container, and what it does, it takes styrofoam and condenses into a very dense form. You put it in a machine and it compacts, it gets rid of all the air. And this material is actually then can be sold domestically, not to China, for about $200 to $500 a ton. It is used to making picture frames and architectural molding, and there's actually a company in New Jersey that uses this material right out of Princeton. So I just wanted to submit to the board information about this. I don't know what the cost of this is, but it would be a good idea to, as a pilot study, to add an additional recycling way at the recycling center. As a pilot study, maybe in certain communities, a drop-off center to collect the styrofoam. I'm not necessarily suggesting that a weekly pickup. I don't think you get that much on a weekly pickup to pick it up, but it might be worthwhile to at least investigate what the costs are and do an inventory, how much styrofoam actually goes to the landfill, just do an audit to see what you might be able to take out of that source and be able to actually literally recycle it and sell it back so it'll become another useful product. And there is, as I said, a company in New Jersey that actually uses the material. So you don't have to go very far to sell it back as repurposing the styrofoam into a second product, new use product, upcycling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy, hold on.
Go, Steve.
I got to speak.
Go, Steve.
I'm sorry.
I'll get you on the back.
My name's Steve Will. I live on 17 South Park Road in Tabernacle, New Jersey. And I've worked at the pool 27 years, taught a lot of people how to swim competitively, as well as recreation, and lifeguards, and all kinds of stuff like that. But there's a little story I want to tell about my daughter. Well, all my kids grew up there and they could all swim. But my youngest, that's kind of a unique story. Because when she was in school, I found out that basically she could not read. And I didn't find that out until she was in 6th and 7th grade. And she had to be put on a 504 plan, but she could swim. She could swim very well. When she was 2, she could actually, actually 3, she could dive off the block. Okay, I was throwing her in the pool, on the side, but she got on the block and decided to jump, and then decided she wanted to dive. But when she was in high school, the counselor thought, well, she's not going to go to college. She doesn't want to take any tests. She was test fearful, and she didn't. She went to RCBC instead, but she still she wanted to swim, but they didn't have a swim program for college-age kids. So she started looking, and she went to Frostburg and looked at that program and decided that's where she's going to swim. And she's on her senior year. And 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and it's a nervous disorder, and she was very sick. She lost 70 pounds, and not from swimming, just she couldn't eat. She had cramps. But anyway, she overcame that. She's a senior now. She's going to finish and she's going to graduate. And she's already applied for jobs. But a lot of this had to do with the confidence, the fact that she could swim, she had a place to go, and she felt that being on the swim team made all the difference to her. And she could swim. And that's the best thing that she got was out of RCBC. Okay? So, thank you for your time.
My name is Cindy Pasalak. I live in West Hampton. First off, for all the swim people out here, I want to thank Carol for the phenomenal job she's been doing and getting the information out to us. Is the president of RCBC still here?
Not president, Greg Volte.
Gentleman that was up here for the other. The award.
Still here. Long gone? It's too
Long
bad.
gone. Yeah, that figures.
I think that trail's supposed to go over the closed campus.
Yeah, that figures.
Could all the pool people stand up just so people
Yeah,
can see
let's
how
say
many
pool
there
people.
are?
I could stand here for the next 2 hours and give you reasons why the pool should be closed. Instead of doing that, I'm going to tell you why you need to make a decision, and you need to make decisions quickly. Okay? For the last 20 years, I've run a USA swim team out of Burlington County College. At one point in time, I had 120 kids, including Automo, including Josiah, who were, at one point, Automo was one of the top 10 boys when he was 9, 10 years old in the country in the 50 fly. When BCC started pulling this garbage about we're going to close, we're going to close, we're going to close, oh, we're going to stay open, we're going to stay open, maybe we'll stay open, okay? I can't sell a swim team. Oh yeah, we're going to run this semester, and maybe we're going to run next semester, and maybe we're going to close down the championships season the week of, like we did 3 years ago. I lost all my kids. I'm running a team with 16 kids. We're going to declare bankruptcy because I can't pay the bills for 16 kids. But what you need to do is you need to start thinking about the high schools, who are the main revenue at this point in time for BCC. They have to make their decisions now. Where are they going to secure pool time for the upcoming season? They've got to schedule their buses. They've got to rent another pool somewhere else. If you don't make a decision, right now we just got a 2-month reprieve. We're going to stay open June and July. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Okay? But that doesn't help the high school seasons in September. That doesn't help Aquatech. That doesn't help me. We are not guaranteed we're going to open in September. So those schools, for example, maybe they go over to Jersey Storm, or maybe they go to Hamilton West, or wherever somebody's got a pool, and they sign a contract right now saying we're coming to you next high school season, and we're going to give you our $30,000 or $50,000 or whatever it is for you for the practices. And then you guys decide, or BCC decides in August, oh, we're going to open. Well, your main revenue sources just went out the door months ago. There are students at Medford. I also teach over at Medford Fitness. There are students over there, Shawnee High School, that have 8th graders. Parents have 8th graders. They want their children to swim in high school. They're looking at private schools outside of Burlington County for their child to go swim at. Those decisions have to be made now. There's applications and tests, entrance exams for those kids. Parents don't want to pay $15,000 for their kids to go to a private school, but they want their child
to have a swim experience in high school. So the decisions to keep this pool open can't be semester-based or, oh, okay, we're going to open up for 2 months in the summer. There's got to be a decision that says we are open next year so that I can sell a program, so that the high schools can book what they need to book. And by you doing this piecemeal, you're going to lose out on all these revenues if these high schools book somewhere else, if they can find somewhere else. And we just did the Burlington County Open 2 Fridays ago. And as was said earlier, where's the Burlington County Open going to be held next year? That's a disgrace. That is absolutely a disgrace if that Open isn't held or is held in Camden County. Thank you.
I know I had my 5 minutes earlier, but while they're talking about the swim meets, you have to understand that this ramifications for using the pool extends into the state meets. When the state championships are coming, they look for a neutral pool. We may have 2 teams that are not from Burlington County swimming their championship meets in our pool at Pemberton because they look for a neutral location, not one of their home pools. And so this is a statewide ramification that I don't think anybody's taken into consideration, and it needs to be thrown into the mix.
Good evening, my name is Joe Martin. Thanks for hosting all of us. I'm the principal at Rancocas Valley Regional High School, right down the road. I'm just here to offer support in any kind of way and coming up solution. I was here back in the fall to put myself out there to offer myself, other administrators, athletic directors in the county to just come to the table, maybe come together, some kind of committee to come up with a plan to salvage and save our pools, the pool and basically the programs in our county. I know that the people here pledged, had pledged to their support to keep the pool open and would do everything they could to keep it open. So I'm asking that all of you do the same and commit yourself to that. I'll never forget, to me there's 2 heroes back in the fall. I don't know if they've spoken yet. I just got back from the meeting, so I don't know if they spoke, but 2 young men came up here from Pemberton's, Browns, Mills, and they broke my heart. They talked about the fact that they either literally did drugs or going to do drugs and get involved in wrong things if this pool doesn't stay open, because there's nothing in their communities. I spoke a little bit about myself, and I'll say about again, my own children go to the pool right down here at Torrance Swim Club, and there was a time when they would say, I look up to Michael Phelps and those kind of people, but now we have local heroes right around the corner of the Worrells, and they want to be the next Kelsey Worrell, the next Kyle Worrell, you know, and there's so many of us here that look up to what that pool represents. And if we can work together on salvaging it, coming up together, look at the finances, looking at how the high schools, all the swim programs come together and salvage this, it's a winner. But I think it's just a lot of teamwork. So anything I can do as a principal with our superintendent and athletic directors in the area, I'd certainly extend myself to stay up at nights and working together on this, because we just owe it to our children and their families. So thank you.
I know I've already spoken. I have one suggestion. It's very quick, and everybody will support this. Form an advisory committee now with 1 RCBC financial person, 1 freeholder, 1 county financial person, 1 county conservation resource person, 1 pool person, 4 members of the pool using public, total 9. That will solve this.
Hi, I'm Donna Hill. I'm a Medford resident. I'm actually a teacher at Lenape and Shawnee High Schools. I have a Shawnee freshman, and I have 3 other children that are all swimmers that are going to be coming, hopefully, for the swim programs in our schools. I wanted to say that most of the time when you look at colleges and you look at the GPAs of different athletic teams within college, most of the higher performing athletes in college are swimmers, golfers, and tennis players. So most of the children that are in these swim programs are very academically successful children. And if we take away the swim program in high school, it'll take away a lot of involvement with NHS because they need a sport and other things like that. So just, we need to consider there's a lot of academic potential with these kids that are in the pools as well. So, just my perspective. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to speak. I represent the grandfather who has 5 grandkids. Not one, not 2, but 5.
Oh, Spiros Adractis.
And address the town.
And I live in Southampton. But all my grandkids have made sure, went to BCC, or the new name, and they all went to the swim. When they walk in, my last one is there right now. She's wearing a floating on her left arm, a floating on her right arm, and one wrapped around her stomach. And by the end of the first class, she's able to jump in the water, not scream to death, and she's actually learning to swim. And I will take her to the duration, I hope the school stays open. And I can only say that when I was 5 years old, I fell off the steer peel because I was climbing up. My parents are from Greece, so they're screaming in Greek, help, help, help. And when I think about it, it's a miracle that I survived all that. And managed, somebody was there that was a swimmer, he dove and he saved me. And that sticks in my mind every day. And that's why I made sure that every one of my grandkids, whether they like it or not, they were going to learn to swim. And the last thing I want to see, I was devastated to see that you're going to shut the place down in June. Because I have every intention of bringing all of my grandkids there. And I endorse it totally. And I would have no problem making a donation, whatever has to happen, to keep it open. And I'm also a charter graduate of that school back when it was not even accredited yet. So I have a vested interest in that totally. And I'm just hoping that whatever happens tonight, please keep it open. I think it's very important. Thank you.
Hi, it's Team Guard Taylor again, and I was very nervous and I didn't know you could take so much time. But it is really important to know how to swim when you live on the lake, and that's why I wanted my grandkids to go to lessons. And they do have lessons in the summer, but my granddaughter won't let me take them there because she thinks it's dirty. Of course, my kids were in there every day. And another point I want to say is that the seniors, you know, a lot of us can't drive, a lot of us can't see, but the senior center will get us a bus. They would get us a bus and we'd all go, you know, we'd all go and play in the water. It was so much fun. So I beg you again, please don't close the pool, please, please.
Hi, my name is Violet Ortega. I live at 409 First Street in Hainesport, but I grew up in Mount Holly. RCBC has been a part of my life since I was 6 months old. My mom took me out there for mommy and me lessons, and I graduated from that to being on the high school swim team, being a part of and coaching numerous swim teams that practice out at RCBC. I also taught swim lessons at RCBC, lifeguarding classes. I run high school swim meets there, and I'm currently the meet director of the Burlington County Scholastic League Open. So a lot of people have already said a lot of the things that I want to say, so I'm just going to say 3 things that I don't think were said. The first was that when I was in high school and I went to RV, I was a part of the swim team and I was the captain of the swim team. And when I was there, it was not just the RV swim team, it was actually the RV swimming and diving team. A lot of people don't know that BCC used to have a diving board. And the reasons that I were told when I was in high school that they had to take out their diving board, I don't know, because of insurance purposes or like the new safety standards of how deep a pool had to be because of the diving pool, for your height of the diving board. I'm not sure why. But the diving board was taken out of BCC. And now you don't hear of the RV swim and diving team, the Shawnee swim and dive team. You hear just the swim team because taking the diving board out of BCC completely crippled the diving programs in Burlington County. There are also no other diving programs in Burlington County for those athletes to move on into college. A lot of them go to Drexel for their diving program or to the College of New Jersey, so they seek programs out of the county for them to be able to do diving as a sport. I was never a diver, but I was not very good at it. But I had friends that were, and if diving wasn't there for them when they were in high school, they wouldn't have been able to pursue diving in college like they had. And the second point that I would like to make is that the pool should also remain in Pemberton, because right now in Pemberton, there's no other, not that there's just nothing, there's just no other swim team program in the area besides the base. And the base is only one pool, and it's, while they do have their own swim team and swim lesson programs, you do need passes and stuff to get on base, and only one pool can service so many people. And if you move the pool to Mount Laurel, think about all of the other pools that are in Mount Laurel. You have Goldfish Swim Club, you have the Y, you have the surrounding areas. I think there's like Bear Call in Marlton. You have all these other swim lesson programs out there. And the swim, the revenue that comes from the swim lessons at the pool is what makes the pool like partly self-sustainable. And if you move the pool to Mount Laurel, you're going to be taking a resource from those in Pemberton, but you're also going to be putting it in a more competitive area. So now people are going to have a choice, a bigger choice of where their students and their kids are going to be able to swim. So you would be moving it to an area with higher competition. So not only would keeping the pool in Pemberton benefit those residents of Pemberton and Browns Mills and all of the high school swim teams that were mentioned, but it would also help you, because then you're not putting your pool into a more competitive area. That's it. Thank you.
I just want to say some reasons why you should keep it. The first reason is there is always a summer team in the pool, and I think it is important.
You can take it out. You can take it out.
I think it's important to keep the pool open because there's a swim team every summer that everyone enjoys doing. It's important because every summer there's a swim team. And they don't just have a swim team, they have lessons, and they have people that like going swimming there just to practice and like get better at swimming. And I think it's important because there's not just lessons, there's just people that like swimming there. And I think you should keep the pool open.
Hi, my name is Stacy Yates. I'm from Browns Mills. And the reason I'm here tonight is to support kids in swimming. When I put my two kids in swimming, it was basically because I didn't want them to be a statistic. As we all know, African Americans don't swim. It's a fear, but I made sure that my kids could swim. My son got into college off of a scholarship. When that program disbands out of there, there is nothing. That life skill is going down, and not only will you have African American statistics going up, but all the other races as well, because no one will know how to swim. They'll go to that little lake out there with the filthy water and swim with the fish and everything else, and how many will go under and stay under? That will be on you guys, because you want to shut the pool down to do whatever it is that you got on the sideline. It's a shame.
My name is Christian Deeger. I live at 304 Forest Drive in Burlington, New Jersey. There's a common theme here that we're hearing regarding business impact, community impact, but I'd like to focus in on something that we're all inundated with these days when it comes to the internet. You hear about the term student athlete, and you hear about a negativity when it comes to kids this age getting into trouble. Going viral with bullying, going viral with something negative. But when you look at these kids in the swim community, and it doesn't matter what level we're talking about here, there's a vibe to these kids. There's a vibe to them that cannot be described. There's a chemistry to them that cannot be grasped or bought. It's experienced, and I'm telling you from experience only because I never was a part of a competitive swim situation like this. I didn't have it. As you can tell, I played basketball or football or something else, right? But the reality is that even in this inundation of society with the internet, how many times do you go online and find out a negative story about a swimmer? How many times is a kid a swimmer who gets in trouble? These kids are some of the most dedicated kids you can imagine. And I'm just talking from 8 years old all the way on up. I mean, who likes to get up at 3 in the morning and go to swim practice? Nobody. But they do it. And they do it as a community, and they do it together. And then they compete and try and race each other's brains out, and then they're hugging each other because they can barely stand when they finish. I mean, that's the reality of what this is. But the impact to that school, or to the pool himself, I mean, you're taking away some of the greatest things that the public can give to society, is that opportunity for these kids. And I hope you reconsider and work something out here. Thank you.
Anybody else? For anything? Okay. No? Okay.
My second comment. I'm a little concerned about a comment earlier
What's your name and...
William Kramer, I'm the Vice President of the Burlington County Fire Chiefs. I'm concerned that at least Mr. Tiber indicated that he did not receive the letter. The letter was sent to the email on the website for the Freeholders on Monday. So I'm not sure why, but you obviously have some problem with getting information that's submitted the way the public's supposed to submit it to the actual eyes of the Freeholders. That's number one. Number two, I'm really disappointed in the 4 Democrats on the board. I'm a Democrat. You turned your back on your fire chiefs. All 4 of you. You turned your back on your fire chiefs. Is it possible, Mr. Solicitor, for someone on the board to read the resolution that, so we know what's in the resolution that reforms the advisory board now that it's been passed? And
I can give it to you after the meeting.
Okay, well, I think the people here would probably like to hear it. I don't know why it would be a problem to read it.
Well, I'm not going to read it. I'll give it to you after the meeting. I'll give it whoever
Right,
wants
well,
a copy of it.
Again,
it'll be made available.
Issue with open government.
I'd like to
you know, you guys.
I'd like to hear
Public comment. One of the common themes that I heard tonight was lack of communications from this board to its constituents. I heard it from me, and I heard it from other people here tonight. You guys are here to serve the community. You are not the kings. You are not the bosses. You are here to listen to the concerns of Burlington County and all of the municipalities herein. You obviously haven't learned that yet. And in fact, in just 6 weeks in power, you've succeeded in alienating thousands of people. That's a pretty good record. You know, I think... I'll leave you with this. I come from a town that was Republican for 50 years. 50 years. They had a mayor and another individual running for re-election in a primary. They thought they were kings too. They're not here anymore. They're not on the township committee anymore. A sitting mayor lost a primary. 2 years comes real quick. So I would suggest that we put our political agendas aside and start listening to the people who you are elected to serve. You have successfully, tonight, alienated every emergency service organization in this county. Thank you.
Good evening. Brent Toomer, I'm the Battalion Chief of the City of Burlington Fire Department. What I saw tonight from everybody up there, with the exception of Freeholder Tiber, is that you guys essentially have turned your back on the emergency services. And that is disgusting and appalling. And I hope you understand that and think about it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Is that it? Okay, not hearing anybody else. We'll close this public portion of the meeting and move on to the freeholder comments. Freeholder Tiger.
Thank you, Director. First, I want to thank all the members of the community for coming out to voice your concerns on the RCBC pool. Last year, I committed my support to keeping the pool in the Pinelands, and I stand by that commitment tonight. I've had discussions with a number of you in the past, and I believe we continue working together to make that a reality. Carol mentioned how long have you been coming here now?
16 months.
So, I think the very first meeting that Carol came here, she mentioned an advisory board. I know that I can't, because of the rules of the board, I can't make a motion on the floor to do that, but I think it makes a lot of sense that maybe we can get the freeholder board, the college, the public, everybody in one room, and maybe I'd like to request that we put that on the agenda for our next freeholder meeting in a couple of weeks, if that's possible, Director. It looks like tonight's advisory board night. The Emergency Services Advisory Board. Emergency services personnel play an important role in our county. They're trained, they're professional, and above all, they are not political. The fact that some members of this board think that on one hand, we can trust the individuals to save our lives, but on the other hand, we cannot trust them to decide who should sit on the advisory board, it's just not right. As the most senior freeholder, I can let you know how the appointments to this advisory board were historically handled. The various entities would make recommendations on who they felt best to fill their seats. The freeholder board would vet those candidates and then would defer to the recommended nominees. End of story. We figured that the people doing this day in and day out knew their world and their needs better than we did and valued their opinions. And just to be clear, we didn't always agree. There were certainly areas where the Emergency Services Advisory Board and the Burlington County Freeholder Board did not see eye to eye. But we worked through those differences, and one constant through all of those times was we never compromised or politicized public safety. Going forward, I hope we can show the public safety community the respect they deserve and let them continue to have a seat at the table. With that being said, thank you for everyone for coming out tonight, and don't forget your significant others tomorrow. It is Valentine's Day.
Freeholder O'Connell.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. I'm the new kid on the block here, so I want you to know, I listened to you, Mr. Kramer, Chief Kramer, and you did call me. The only reason I didn't call you back is I was waiting for a letter that I was told it was going to be sent Monday, and that as of right now I still don't have. But to characterize myself or any of my fellow freeholders, I did speak with a member of your organization. If you don't know that, then maybe you should go back to your organization and talk to them. I'm aware. I don't view myself as a king. I served on my council in Delran for 4 years, and I know who I work for and I know who I answer to. But we have decisions to make, and sometimes they're not popular decisions. But I promise you all, whatever decision I ever make here is going to be made by listening to both sides. Last night I had the pleasure of attending in my hometown of Delran celebration for 50 years for a volunteer fireman, Charles Kender. And I see our deputy chief back there in the corner. I want to thank him for the invitation. It was a great night to see Mr. Kendra and his entire family, and it was a surprise. It was really something, and it's something I learned over the last 4 or 5 years as a council person. The number of people that step up and volunteer their time. In my town, and probably in all of your towns, if we didn't have these volunteers and had to pay for the services they provide us for nothing other than they want their town to be a nice place to live, our taxes, as high as they are now, would be even higher. So I want to thank the Delran Fire Department for that invite last night. And I'd also like to thank our county clerk, Joanne Schwartz. She invited me to go with her to a Code Blue shelter. You know, all of us have probably heard those terms, Code Blue shelter, but I've never been to one. It was a few weeks back when we were starting to get some really cold nights. And I looked at these people, and they're only there overnight. And I asked the one gentleman, I said, and I think the next day, I don't think it was supposed to get above freezing, I asked him, I said, where are you going tomorrow morning? He says, we have tents out in the woods. Tents in the woods, in freezing weather. It was really quite amazing. So I appreciate, you know, while we hear terms sometimes, by the county clerk taking me and educating me a little bit, it's something I need to do more of, and hopefully we'll get a chance and an opportunity to do in the future. And I also, like Freeholder Tiber, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out here, especially the young lady that got up near the end speaking about the pool. I grew up in Willingboro, and we had free pools. I learned how to swim. I became a lifeguard for free. Unfortunately, that was a long time ago. Now the town can't even keep those amount of pools open, so it's something it's very close to my heart. I don't know that we'll be able to do it, but believe me, I hear all of you. I've been now to 3 meetings, and I understand that the pool will be discussed until we stop discussing it. So thank you very much for all your attendance this evening. That's all, Freeholder Director.
Freeholder Hobson.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, to the parents, the students, the community members, the academic leaders. We hear what you're saying about the pool, and we take it seriously. We are not ignoring you. So I'm going to just make sure that we continue to listen to you. We have our hands tied to a certain degree, but I just want you all to know that we hear you. Ms. Bell, regarding your comments about diversity in human services, I am the liaison for human services, so I will take that as a takeaway. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Congratulations to everyone who was appointed to the advisory boards. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment to our community. And lastly, to Mr. Kramer, I don't view myself, in this case, a queen. I am a community servant. So I did not receive a phone call from you or an email from you. So I will be happy to have a conversation with you. So the last thing I want to do is alienate anyone in our community, particularly folks that are first responders. That's not, and I'm speaking for myself. So it's unfortunate that you feel that way. So just speaking for myself, I do apologize for you because we could have done things differently. So I'm happy to have a conversation with you. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for constantly holding us accountable. And I hope to continue to see the room this full. So everyone get home safely. Thank you.
Freeholder Singh.
Thank you, Director. Just echoing the words of all the freeholders, as always, thank you so much for coming. I think we have seen rooms full, throughout the past year or two, and every year, every other meeting, I think. As the Freeholder Hobson said, it's not like we're not listening. We are listening, but there are moments where our hands are tied and there's a misinformation around, and unfortunately, we're not in a situation where we start arguing back and forth, or we're like patting them. But we do care about our communities. We do hear. We take a bunch of notes, and then we are in a position where we have to go back to the people that are in charge of the certain, the works in the county and ask questions. But feel free to always submit the questions to the board, especially in the writing, if you're looking for any particular responses to any questions. It is our job to deliver upon it, and yeah, we don't see ourselves king's queens, and elections are, we're not here to make money. We don't know, this is not the job that really pays your bills. It's a job where you get a lot of beating for representing 40 municipalities and 500,000 people for $3.45 and 10 cents every 2 weeks or every 15 days. And this is not the place if you want to act like a king. On the Emergency Services Board, I know the board did take an extraordinary step today in terms of reorganization to make the board more inclusive of all the disciplines serving our communities, especially in times of a need. I know when there's a house on fire, we are calling our bravest. I know when there's a health an emergency, we are calling on our medical EMTs. And if there's a law and order situation, we are calling on our finance. That does not just escape our heads. We do understand it. And in our position, we also know that one cannot do others' job, and they're all equally important to us. We are in a position where we don't get to choose, is a police better than the fire or fire better than EMS? To me, if I'm dying of something, an injury, I need the EMS, not really the fireman to knock the door down or the police to pull a gun or arrest or do anything. But if I'm in a situation where I need the police, I know the fire and EMS can help. So for us, it is a balance, and that's what we kind of shoot for, to make sure that everybody's happy. And unfortunately, as the Freeholder said before, we are in a situation where, unfortunately, just like I have 3 kids, I can't make everybody happy all the time, and we do our best to make sure that we hear concerns of everybody that has been reaching out. I do not, I don't remember getting a call from you, Mr. Kramer, but it's something that I wish you had a better number somewhere to get in touch with me. But I do know that for us, we are proud of our tradition of honoring our men and women who are every day we're out there and serving our communities in a moment of need. I mean, if there's an emergency, when everybody else is running elsewhere, you have to leave your friends and families behind and go out and help those people in burning fires. That truth does not escape us. In the coming days, we look forward to soliciting the recommendations for the newly organized board, and our department will be reaching out for those recommendations, so the board and the director can at least have a chance to review those and then make the necessary appointments in the coming days. That's where we are at this point. I am really honored that we had all different groups and all different issues, and that kind of you ask what a freeholder does. This is what we do. It's just everything combined in one place, from a pool in Pemberton to the hiking trails from Bordentown State to Palmyra all the way in Medford. These are the issues we deal with. So thank you so much for keeping us on the edge and always paying attention. Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Well, I don't have much to add to that, other than personally, people who've known me for years can call my chief of police in Edgewater Park and talk to the folks in Endeavor over the years what I've done for them. I do support EMS, firefighters, policemen. I could never do what they do. I have the utmost respect for everybody. And it's a shame that we have a knee-jerk reaction because somebody feels as if something contrary to what's been done for years is going to be changed to a certain degree. I don't think any of your resumes as professionals says that you're any greater or any less, whether you're on a committee or you're on a board. I don't think when you got your certificate, it mandated that you had that position. And I don't think of you any greater or any less because you're on a board or commission. So I don't think you should define yourself solely whether you have a seat somewhere. I certainly don't look at you any differently because you do or you don't. I accept you for your professionalism and the guts and courageousness that you have every day to do what you do that I can't do. And I feel very privileged, the interaction that I have had with groups such as yourselves over the years. I don't take it lightly that I can put my head down on a pillow at night and feel very safe, and it's all because of all of you. So moving forward, I hope that the knee-jerk reactions, because something seems to be what it is or what it isn't, doesn't begin to define us. The king of my house is sitting out there in the third row. That's my wife. And I hope that moving forward, you know, the communication and expectations of everybody can come a little bit closer together. This is, quite frankly, this is democracy at its best. I don't think we would not be doing our jobs if at some point in time we didn't incite a reaction from the public. And some of that sometimes is due to change. I don't like to make the comment that people don't accept change very easily, but we certainly do see a reaction whenever something that has been done for a long time might change a little bit. The meaning behind that change doesn't change things, okay? And then, like I said, it doesn't change the way we feel about you and what you do. For the pool, I have one comment. The school is in charge of the pool, and the school must determine what it is they're going to do with the pool.
Don't fund them.
We hear everybody, like the other freeholders before me said, we understand, we're sympathetic, but the school has to decide what they want to do with the pool. Okay? That's all I can say about that. I really appreciate you all coming out. Thank you. If I've personally offended anybody here, I duly apologize, and we hope that you will continue to come out. This is a great thing to see, believe it or not. I don't view it as being negative. Thank you very much. This time, motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye.